Howdy ho, neighbors. Welcome to Uncommon Roots Homestead. Today you get the special pleasure of enjoying my company as I take you on a tour of the chores that I do on a daily basis, and I answer the question, what do you do at the land for 2 hours every day? So come along with me as we walk through every little detail. So I am currently at our home where we reside. So right now, as you probably know if you have been following along with us, we do not live in the current space that we are stewarding. It's about 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away from us. So we've got a land that we are building our property on. We are preparing it for certainly the home being built, as well as the gardens. We have animals that we take care of there. So there's a lot of work that goes on at the land, but we don't live there, which makes everything just a little bit more difficult. So what you just saw was me filling up some garbage cans and tubs with water from our current home. Once again, we do not have running water at the land. So Ashley may have mentioned that to you before. So we make do with what we have. We take the steps necessary to get the water that we need over there. So what that looks like right now is filling up these garbage cans. It's about, behind me is about 65, 70 gallons worth of water that we can take in a trip, from our house to the land. I can fill it up here at the house and then tote it over there in the truck. Not the most efficient process by any means, but once again, we have to grow where we're planted, and this is where we are in life right now. And in order to embrace the way of life that we want to live, we have to take the steps necessary to once again grow where we're planted and figure out how to take care of the plants and the animals and all these things that God has allowed us to steward, and try to steward them as well as we can in the situation that we're in. So you see me right now filling up garbage cans full of water just so I can feed water our animals, water our plants, give them all sustenance. We haven't had rain in East Tennessee where we live probably in about 5 days. We have rain barrels over at the land, which typically help out a lot, as long as we get rain. So if we don't have rain, we don't have water. Hopefully we'll have running water there at the land soon enough, but this is where we are right now. So these will be filled up. Some of it will be used to water the plants. Some of it will be used to give water to our animals, most likely our cow. We do have to give water to the chickens with this today too, because we haven't had rain. Normally I can give them water from the rain barrels, mixed with some apple cider vinegar, but I don't have that luxury today. So we're gonna tote all this water over to the land, and I'll show you the rest of the chores over there. So I just arrived at the land after dropping off my daughter at daycare for the day. And once again, as I mentioned in the intro, what the goal of this video today is to figure out what I do here. So we've had the question asked a few times, just in talking to friends or acquaintances or even people online, have asked us, asking my wife, what does your husband do at the land for 2 hours a day? So to give you a little background, I lost my job last year. I worked full-time in the corporate world. And I lost my job during the pandemic of last year. So Since then, I've actually picked up part-time work. That was fairly intentional, and then fairly divine intervention as well. So I'd been through the interview process quite a bit for, a few months, trying to find something else full-time, and just nothing was working out. I found myself being uniquely qualified for a lot of positions, but just wasn't getting the job. So we found that there was probably an answer to prayer in that I wasn't supposed to be working traditionally. So I managed to collect a few different part-time jobs. I'm actually working for 3 different employers right now, all part-time. And then that provides me a lot of flexibility. So these are all remote positions. I can work them from home. I can work them from the land, actually, because we have internet here. And that allows me some flexibility too, to actually do what we need to do at the land. So once again, a pretty common question is, what do you do for 2 hours a day? I've kind of blocked off my schedule to where I can get at least 2 hours, of work done here. So I want to kind of show you what that looks like. Now, that 2 hours probably looks different. And the simple answer to that question is really, I do whatever needs to be done. So that looks different on a daily basis, really. Some stuff are really consistent. So we have what we call chores that we do on a daily basis, just general maintenance and taking care of what we have here. So that's plants, animals, other things like that just need, routine, regular, care. So I'll take you on a tour, kind of show you what that looks like, but that's the simple answer, whatever needs to be done. So the regular chores take up a significant amount of time in the morning, and then after that I do any slew of projects that need to be done. Specifically right now, we're kind of building out the infrastructure for the garden and preparing kind of our space in what Ashley calls her potager garden. So this first year on the land where we're starting to develop gardens and things like that, it's really important to get all the infrastructure set up so that way it's less maintenance and less work down the road. So kind of get things how we want them, and nothing's going to be perfect. I think if you are taking this journey with us, you'll notice that nothing we do is perfect, and you can't expect your own garden or your own things that you're taking care of to always be perfect. And I think that's part of the process of learning and growing, is that you are okay with imperfection, and that you do what needs to be done to get things done, and then you kind of perfect them and make them better as you go. Or at least that's how we've done it. If we sweated the small stuff too much, nothing would get done. And we just can't have that. Ashley works full-time, in a corporate job. I work part-time and have responsibilities with the kids as well. So we fit in things where we can. I fit in the work for the land, when I can. I do the projects when I can and try to do them to the best of my abilities, of course. But, if there's little things like, you'll notice my garden beds are a little wonky, due to the fact that I just didn't quite do the measurements right when I expanded some of the long beds, from the 6x3s that we were used to 24 feet long. Just the infrastructure didn't quite work out as well, for how I typically made the garden beds. So they're a little wonky, but ultimately they hold the soil. They hold the compost that we need to grow, plants, and plants are growing in them. So as much as I'd love to change the aesthetic of it and make it look more appealing, sometimes you just say, it is what it is, and it's serving its purpose for growing the plants, and we are able to, kind of steward what we have, despite it not looking as aesthetically pleasing as we might like. So everything's a little bit of a lesson out here, and everything is, not perfect, but it's all beautiful in its own way. And God is allowing us to take what we have been given and learn through all of it and still provide for our family. So the ultimate goal of all of this is to provide a better life for our kids, for ourselves, for our community. And we're able to do that, though it may not look as pretty as we might like. We are able to do that. So without further ado, I will end my monologue. We'll take a look at some of the chores I do on a daily basis, and then we'll look at the extracurriculars that I get to do around here as well. Step 1, feed the cat. So the cat's not in here right now. He is probably around at the neighbor's getting more food, and then he'll be back for more food probably tonight, and then he'll probably come back and sit in his tower for a little bit, his cat tower. He's a lazy guy, big guy, but he's a good cat. He actually came with the cow that we bought. You've probably seen him in some of our videos if you follow along with us. He came from the farm that raised Jeannie, our dairy cow. So we got a cat with the price of a full-grown cow. But he's been great. His name is Robin. He just kind of does what he wants, but he tends to hang around. The folks that we bought the cow from were retiring and moving and kind of disbanding their operation in their farm. So the cat needed a home. So he came here, and we've loved him a lot. Our daughter loves him. My wife loves him. I've grown fond of him. So he's a good boy, but he's one more animal to feed. So that's the first step. Feed him, make sure he has water, that the litter is fairly clean. And then we'll go out and do the chickens. Open the garage, so that way I can get the Ranger out. Kind of show you what I do there. But the Ranger has been a blessing. This thing, I bought it, and it's been really handy for a lot of projects. It's got a dump bed on it, allows me to do a lot of the mulching stuff and compost and get all the garden ready. But best thing it's been used for is taking care of our chickens. So I will load up the back with food, with water, any other supplies that I have. Oyster shells, make their eggs stronger. And some First Saturday lime, keep everything clean and tidy, free of bugs. So I'll load all that in the back of the Ranger. I'll drive that down. Oh, there's Robin. There he is. He heard food. He came running. Good boy. Big guy. He's a good boy. Like I said, he heard food and he came running. So, once again, I'm going to go out to the chicken yard. Got to fill up my water. And we've got a problem. What you see is that one of my water containers has fallen over and is completely empty. So that water that I toted all the way here, 20 gallons of it, is now on the road along the way. It's my own fault. I probably didn't secure it well enough. These are just some of the little joys that we have here at the land without water. So that happened. I do have about 50 gallons still. So for today's purposes, it's probably enough. Like I said, when I have my rain barrels full, not really an issue, but because we haven't had any rain, I have to bring water from home. So I'm gonna fill these up, and then we'll go to the chicken yard. and gentlemen, who's hungry? So, I'll be grabbing, oh, we caught a branch on the way. I'll give them food. Use organic layer pellets. Just because we are consuming the eggs, I feel like we should put good things in their body if we're gonna put it in ours. So, here we are. Pretty ladies. And there's Jerry. It's one of our roosters. There's George, our other rooster. We haven't named all of them, but some of the unique ones have names. We got their feeders here. George is a little aggressive, so if that camera shook a little bit, that's because he wanted to attack me. That's also why he will be rehomed. So, either in a freezer or at our in-laws' house who want them for their farm. Food. You all. It's a little harder to do with camera in my hands, guys. I would say that it's a waste, but they'll eat it, so I guess is it really a waste if all the animals are fed? I guess not. So we've got all those chickens. We started out with 22. There's a couple laying in the laying boxes right now. I'll collect the eggs here in a minute also. Then we also are raising 14 other chickens right now too. There they are. They like to hang out behind. So these little babies, some of them are staying here, 8 of them are staying here. 6 of them are going to my in-laws' house for their farm, but they didn't really have a place for them yet, so they're all staying here for now. I think one of them may be a rooster. We might have 3 roosters running around here. We'll see. So they're fed. I typically leave the door open to their coop if we're gonna be back, so that way they can air it out a little bit. Make things a little nicer for them. And then there's their water. I'll go fill that up. I really should save the outtakes for this. I've got water all over myself. I spilled the chicken's food everywhere. Ashley asked me to make a video and said, oh yeah, just do it while you're doing the chores. Easier said than done. Holding the camera while trying to do all this stuff, not as easy, not that easy. So I'm making a mess, but cats are fed, chickens are fed and watered. Got to collect the eggs, and then we'll head over to the cow. May not be able to see them, but right over there, we've got Fury. Next to him, Jeannie. Fury is our livestock guardian dog. And he and Jeannie have become pretty good friends. Despite the amount of grief and annoyance that Fury causes Jeannie on a regular basis, they have become pretty good buddies. Here comes Fury now to say hi. and probably to try and get through the fence while I am undoing the lock. Good morning, mister. Hey, big guy. And Fury's finding his voice, which is great for your livestock guardian dog. So he started barking just a few weeks ago. He's about 5 months old now. He's already over 60 pounds. But he's doing his job. So he lives in with Jeannie, making sure no predators get in, and if anything gets close to his fence, even if a hawk flies over the yard, he is on it. And he is barking, which is great. Come on, bud. You want some food? So I've got a small wooded area here within the pasture. Jeannie likes to hang out in the shade over here. Every day we're checking now to see if there is a calf anywhere nearby, because she is pregnant, and according to the vet, about 7 or 8 months. So we'll see. We don't know for sure. It's not an exact science, but we check on her every day. The reason I'm heading to the woods is actually because our dog loves to bring his bowl into the woods and play with it. We bought one of these bowls that's supposed to be immovable and heavy, too heavy for dogs to move, yet this guy always tends to bring it wherever he wants. So I'm off to feed him now that I've got his bowl. He's off going to bug Jeannie. We're gonna go get them fed. Once again, this is all part of the daily process. So as we've seen, cat is fed and watered, chickens are fed and watered. I forgot to show you collecting the eggs. I'll show you the basket later on that we got. And now we're feeding the dog and the cow. And once all these chores are done, then the daily stuff is pretty much complete. And then I can do whatever's necessary for us to make any land improvements that we have. There you go. So Jeannie's fed, Fury's fed. They have pretty full water over there. Thankfully I didn't need to fill that too much because I lost most of my water. But then we sprayed Jeannie with a little concoction that Ashley made doing research on essential oils and various other things. That's supposed to be like a fly spray for her. So I spray her down with that every day, brushing her fur, get anything off there for her. This is all important. It's an important routine for us. So that way she's comfortable with it. She's comfortable with us. And that she just has this routine that she understands what we need to do with her on a daily basis. The other thing I do with her while I'm brushing, or after I'm done brushing, is I check on her udder, touch that a little bit. So she's gonna be a dairy cow. So I just make sure that she's comfortable with us feeling around her udder. Also check in to see if it filled out anymore. It does feel like it's filling out in certain spots and definitely is more full than before. So it's important for us to do that. Just make sure she's comfortable with us touching her udder. Jeannie has had 4 babies at this point. So she should be fairly comfortable, and she's been milked before. So should be fairly comfortable, but we want to make sure she's comfortable with us as well. Okay, daily chores are done. This will change as our farm grows. as things around the farm change, the daily chores list will get longer. It already has. We just had chickens before, and we didn't have the amount that we have now. So it's already changed quite a bit and gotten a little bit lengthier as we've gone. Soon enough, the chores will get longer. As I mentioned, when Jeannie has her baby, we're going to be out here milking her. We are calf sharing with the calf, so initially we won't milk her, but after a few weeks, we will have to milk her as well. So, we'll be getting dairy from the dairy cow. That'll increase the time that it takes to get everything done. We're checking on the calf, making sure that, he or she is healthy. With each animal we add to the farm, with each plant, with each garden bed, everything takes a little bit more time. So once again, I'm really thankful for the flexibility that I have with my work situation right now. And, we would make it work if that wasn't the case, or if anything changes, we'll make it work. We'll grow where we're planted. But, it is really nice in this stage of life to have that flexibility with my work, so I can be out here doing what we need to do for the farm. Right now I'm out here for 2 hours. That may increase a little bit and I may have to switch my schedule around, but right now we're in a pretty good routine. I feel like that's what people usually say right before something drastic happens or something changes significantly. Maybe Ashley's pregnant or something. Maybe that's the next surprise. I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure she's not. But, people say that. Like, oh, we're in such a great routine. Things are going so well. We're so comfortable right now. And then God has a funny way of taking you out of your comfort zone once you get comfortable. But it's good. It helps us learn. It helps us grow. Helps us adapt to life's ever-changing circumstances. So, we'll see. We'll see if this is a calm before a storm, but hopefully not. We'll pray that we get a little more time in this nice routine. I'm out here for about 2 hours. So far, it's been about a half hour. I can get most of the chores done in about a half hour right now. And then I have an hour and a half to do, whatever else needs to be done. So at this point, I'm going to drive back up to the garden area. So the cow pasture is about as far away as you can get on our land from the garden. So I'll drive back up to the garden, show you what we're doing there. I know Ashley's taking you on a few garden tours in her videos, so we'll drive back up there, get a feel for what's going on, and where we're at. All right, a garden tour with me today. Lucky you. You get to hear more of my monotone musings and get to see the garden. There it is. Things are looking really good despite the difficulties watering. We do have life. I'm always amazed that God still provides life even in some of the difficult situations. And sometimes I'm so concerned with what we need to do, what we aren't doing, that the pH in the soil isn't just right, or that we only were able to water once this week, or whatever it may be, whatever challenges we might face in the garden. God still provides life. Life continues to go on. He provides increase, even though we're not always faithful to what we need to do. I feel like that's an analogy for life too, and that through difficult times and times when we just don't have the strength or the time or the opportunity to fulfill what we need to do, that God's still faithful to provide, even when we don't feel like we can do it, when we can provide for ourselves. So really cool. I see that a lot in the garden. Right now I need to water our herb bed. I was specifically tasked with watering that. We did water mostly everything yesterday except for that herb bed. So I'm gonna water that, go back to my truck, get my water, and then I'll show you what we're doing with the garden itself. the main project that I'm working on right now, after I get all the daily activity done, is the garden. So we have to really build out everything we want this first year that we're here. And then I think everything gets easier as we go. I say that now, but we'll probably add stuff to it, every year. So maybe it'll never get easier, but this most likely will be the hardest year that we have, just because we are really building out everything. So that's kind of like an overhead shot of everything. I'm almost done. Last thing I have to do is finish out these row gardens here. So I'm building out those. We have another section like that, which you could kind of see in that overhead shot, but I'll show you specifically back here. These rows, which right now hold sweet potatoes and corn and some other stuff. But these rows, we're gonna do another section, and that's really the last thing I have to do. So we did mostly raised beds using cedar fence picket for most of the beds. But then we have these sections here that we're trying out, which are pretty much just raised rows of compost. We've put them on top of cardboard and then wood chips or mulch. So cardboard layer goes first, and then I mulch it. And then we put the compost rows along the entirety of the length of the mulch area. So cardboard, wood chips, compost. So that's what I'm doing right now. And that's, pretty much rinse and repeat every day while I'm out here till it's done. So right now I've started this section. You can see the compost row. This will be 3 rows when I'm done. We've got the first row pretty much done. But now I need to put down more cardboard and more wood chips for the rest of the layers. The reason I'm doing it this way and going pretty much row by row is that it's because it's easier to get my Ranger and wheelbarrow into these areas as I go. So what I did first is cardboarded that section closest to that long raised bed. And then I put wood chips on top of it. And then I moved to the next spot, laid down cardboard, put wood chips on top of it, and put compost over that. Next row, same thing, cardboard, wood chips, compost. So that way I could utilize the tools that I have and make it a little bit more efficient of a process. So instead of just putting all the cardboard down, putting all the wood chips down, and making a mess of everything as I tear it up with the Ranger, I'm doing it row by row. So that way I can back the Ranger up, use the dump bed to dump everything out, and do it row by row and use all the tools that I have. So I don't do everything efficiently. I would say I don't do most things efficiently, but this I feel like I have done efficiently. So that's a good feeling. I'm gonna go ahead and put down some cardboard and then some wood chips, and you guys can see that process a little bit as I go. I'm gonna finish up here just like that. 2 hours is gone. So just to give you an idea of what happened, today wasn't a typical day necessarily. So I set out with a plan initially to do all my chores, get a lot of work done in the garden, water some stuff for Ashley. But as I mentioned, whatever needs to be done. So that was the plan initially, but we've got builders here today asking me questions and electricians out asking questions. So a lot of what you didn't see on the video is me, talking to contractors and electricians and things like that. So didn't get as much done as I wanted to. And no, I did not film a full 2 hours. I wouldn't torture you like that. So, I had to do some of that, and then also had a work call that I had to jump on, for about 15 minutes as well. So there's just things you didn't see that, are part of it when I'm out here. I devote 2 hours of my schedule to being out here doing what we need done, but sometimes what we need done doesn't look like how I plan. So that's okay. I got some done, got a little bit of the garden done, dumped some mulch, did what I could. So that's a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, what goes on behind, you know, kind of all our videos and all that. You see the garden stuff on Ashley's tours, and some of the other stuff with the cow and all that. But in order to keep all this running, I've got some time throughout every day to devote to being out here and doing the work. So if you're not subscribed at this point to our YouTube and would like to see more from us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then follow us on Instagram as well at Uncommon Roots Homestead on Instagram. Ashley posts a lot of content on there that you might like as well if you're not following there. So I will sign off at this point, and thank you all for joining me today. Do hope that you enjoy some of our future videos, and hope you enjoyed a little bit listening to, once again, my monotone musings about the work here. So thanks again.